Happy morning on your Tuesday, the last day of March 2026. We're flying into April. It is 6:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am the Cornbread Man, Dave in the AM, welcoming you to the show. Hope you're having a fine top of the morning so far, and hopefully it's going to be a great day for you. We really enjoyed our time last night with our guest, Brady Beavers, and what a fun young man. Be looking forward to having him back and with family. We're going to tell some more family history there about their racing. We do have an interview tonight for the Dirt Report, and that will be. We'll probably mention a little bit about sports updates and stuff, maybe around that. But we definitely have a 6 p.m. Interview with another fine young racer. I don't know the age. Say young. Well, we're all young at heart. So we will have our another guest tonight and Friday. Not. We have 3 interviews this week. Trying to get as many as we can. We've got some other ones that we're scheduled into May, and we have some others that we're working on. And they have each said that they really enjoyed it, and we're in communication with most of them. Sometimes they're busy. It's really hard to get communication. I follow them on Facebook. Sometimes I'll send them a note and attaboy. About Rumble this morning, Broski. Good morning to you. We are on Rumble. We're showing live. It might take just a minute for it to pop up. But yes, we are there. Loud and proud, or loud. Yeah, it does that sometimes. They still have, I think, growing pains they're working on, but we are on Rumble. Actually, showing a couple of people there. Well, one of them might be me. But yes, we are there. But hey, glad to have you. And he flips back over, so he was on YouTube and then to Rumble. So we do a number of lives. We may be adding one. I'm working on it. In the future, maybe a second one as we're trying to work on a couple things. But we're doing a couple of doubles, so we have space. We can back out of one and do another one. But had a good time last night. A little fun times with our D&D group there, Desi and Dusty in Ohio. They're always funny. And following them, it's like a reality show. That's funny. And then Dean and House Marine, Biscuit Boy. So, yeah, we have a couple of surprises coming that we've never done before. One involves Dean. We're supposed to do a little recording tonight for a short clip. He's never done before, so that ought to be good. Looking forward to that. Well, let's get a little bit of our news out of the way, or a little bit of our morning rituals that we have here, and then we'll talk about news. Their National Day today is the first one. I like to get those national days. They're interesting to me. He's doing pretty good, Broski, but he bruised his hand the first day. He's not used to that. So he said, "Oh, I wasn't hurt." Well, I said, "Bruises are hurt." He's got to get used to it. So he was a little wore out, but we did get to see his man cave and all the racing stuff he has in there. Now his man cave and your man cave would be completely different, but for him it was pretty cool. So we got the little tour last night of that. Today is National Crayon Day, so if you still like to play with your crayons, bring them out. It's National Crayon Day. When you have granddaughters, they constantly, they love crayons. So there was a lot of times I was playing with crayons, coloring stuff. My soon to be 14-year-old, she would say, "Color with me, Paw." So we hadn't done it in a while. She's a teenager now, so she still does it occasionally, but she still loves to draw and all that. But lots of days playing with the old crayons. So I didn't do a whole lot of that when I was a kid. I just wasn't artistic in any way. I have things I liked that artistic, but I'm not artistic. I do have creative things that flow in my head. It's just getting them out. It's National Prom Day. A lot of proms are going on. National Clams on the Half Shell Day. I've never had it. I know people say, "What? You never had that?" I never had clams on the half shell. Never did that. And it's the National Bunsen Burner Day. Oh, everybody's had fun with a Bunsen burner. Probably especially the first time was in middle school or junior high or whatever they called it at that time. Working in the labs, the old Bunsen burner. So that's pretty cool. One more National Tater Day. I can deal with that. I like my taters. People, I like that they put it tater. That's the way they put it. People down here sometimes that I don't know. I call it getting a little too big for your britches. And I understand we're supposed to have professional speech, but at the same time, come on. You know, there's people I've met that'll say, don't call them maters and taters. That makes it sound so country. And I'm like, I am country. I don't care. I mean, it's a tater. It's a mater. I mean, I don't even like tomatoes. But, you know, I just call it getting too big for your raise. You know, if you came back home and you said that to your grandparents or even your parents, you said, it's not called a tater, you're going to get told what for. It's like, come on. Jerry says it was fun to color with crazy colors, just to aggravate your granddaughter and watch them take the crayons away. Yeah, there was a couple times where that happened. She said that color doesn't go with the scene. And so you bring back a couple of funny memories, because I do remember that. It's like, how many times have you been told this, Jerry? You just don't know how to do it. And the whole time we're laughing like, what do you mean? I know what I'm doing. I was coloring before you was ever born. Way before you was ever born. Before your mama was born, you know. And then you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to do it right. They got to show you everything. I had a big bowl of stewed tomatoes and crackling cornbreads. Sounds like a winter chicken dinner there, buddy. Nice. Hey, I was trying to give you a holler back the other day. He's already gone. I was hoping we could get her before. There's a lady running for election down. I forget. I think it's the 12th district. You're told that constantly. She was highlighting something over there on Barrett Parkway, you know, that's being built. And I told her about what we did a little research on what you were telling us about that institution is coming your way. We'll say it that way, Jerry. And then I was telling her about that, and she didn't know about it. She's going to come on the air with us. She's very vocal about some of these things. She's a Marine. She was a firearms instructor. Sounds like a real hoot of a person. Very intelligent, very, just home, definitely country Georgian, telling it like it is. She's going to be on the air with us, but it's going to be after May 19th, because she's on the road every day and running for this office. And I understand. So, there's a lot going on, but whether she wins or doesn't, I want to have her on the air because she's definitely pointing out some things that are happening. But they've got a place over there they're calling the Gaza Strip over there on Barrett Parkway. So I don't know why my thing froze up. It's being wild this morning. There we go. There's the flames of the fire. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that, Jerry. We'll get back with you on that and let you know, because she's definitely interested in those kinds of things, my friend. I thought you might want to know that. All right, this day in history, some fun facts about this day in history. The P.T. Barnum and James Anthony Bailey formed the legendary circus on this day, the greatest show on earth. Some people thought later it was horrible, that we had animals in there. I understand. 1910, Henry Fabry piloted the first seaplane to take off from water under its own power in France on this day. 1944, Swedish author Astrid Lindgren sprained her ankle and began writing the beloved children's book Pippi Longstocking, which would become a global classic. I don't think I ever had that. What else here? In 1964, in London, they unveiled the wax figures of the Beatles, which later appeared on the Sgt. Pepper album cover, cementing their cultural impact. 1971, the last original edition of the Ed Sullivan Show aired on CBS, ending a major era in American television. A little before my time, but I went back and looked at clips. I mean, I was a little kid, but that was not on in my house. I don't remember. It was always Tonight Show or something like that, The Late Show. It was never, that I remember, Ed Sullivan. 1972, Elvis Presley recorded his final top 10 hit, Pretty amazing, though, in 72. He had some nice songs. They just didn't make top 10. Cover of Burning Love was that one. Until 2013, Pope Francis became the first pope to wash the feet of women during the Maundy Thursday service, a historic gesture of inclusivity. And finally, in 2022, Will Smith publicly apologized to Chris Rock after he rocked him on stage. Oh, a little bit back in history, some milestones. In 1776, the Continental Congress authorized a medal for General George Washington, recognizing his leadership during the American Revolution. Well, Jerry, they say he's dead. Yeah, I think Elvis is. I think you can say that he is. I went by there yesterday, only found one place it could go, so I'm going to do some more research to see if it's true or not. It is saying on the interweb that it's true. A lot of people up in there just because they've heard of it. They are already listing the address, showing it on a map, talking about it on 2 or 3 places that I saw. Now, that plans could always change, but they definitely were. It's definitely out there because it named the road. What was the name of that road? I looked it up though, brother. I mean, we did in between shows. We did a little bit of research on that. In 1966, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the poll tax unconstitutional. And in 1982, hockey legend Wayne Gretzky, he was kind of like the second big superstar. He became the first NHL player to score 200 points in a single season, setting a record that still resonates in sports history. So there you go. Some fun facts from this day in history. And I usually start with my verse, but we'll do it now. I was running a little bit behind. Didn't want to get up. Let's pop this on screen. Get this verse up there. Amen, amen. There we go. Should be coming up. There we go. John 14:27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Amen. Amen. Love that. Oh yeah, that's right. That was it. Boogers Hill Road. You're right. That's where it showed it, man. Because I was thinking, wow, because we were talking about, because Biscuit Boy said, what a name. I said, in one other place that I know down around Rome, there's a Booger Hill Road or something like that, or Booger Holler. And they said that's where the boogeyman would jump out and rob people. And it went up a slight upgrade, or uphill. The cars would slow down back in the day. They would lose speed. They would jump them there. So we were wondering if Boogers Hill Road was something like that, like there was a bunch of just bad people down there on Boogers Hill, maybe some shiners or something. Well, I was wondering, like I said, I just wonder if it's about the boogeyman. It's a strange thing, but down around Rome or somewhere down there, there's a Booger Holler. We got our hollers, so that's pretty cool. All right, in the news today, all Hades is breaking loose in Iran, I think. I mean, they've set deadlines. They're not living up to them. The president says a deal's coming any day. Of the ones that's left, they found that they're a little more talking about it. But I'm telling you, there are places being hit all around the Middle East. I mean, they're targeting fuel depots and all kinds of stuff. And so I don't know. Now they say the island probably will be taken. But I don't know where it's going to go. Yes, Palm Sunday, yes. Yeah, I have learned about his life. I have. But Palm Sunday, yes. A lot of Baptists do. Maybe not all of them, but most of them do. I think even Jerry, on his broadcast, it was he was preaching on that. I didn't get to hear it. I was listening to the music. I didn't get to the preaching yet. But I think, yeah, we do. There was an interview with Bibi Netanyahu with Newsmax yesterday around 5 p.m., but he said that President Trump recognized the nuke threat from Iran early, and You know, I told you yesterday, I thought they made a bad decision in restricting the Cardinals because I thought they could pull that off. So they asked him about it. And he said that it was only for the safety of the worshipers was the only reason that they were denied. I still think that's a bad idea. These guys have been doing this for centuries. They're willing to take the risk. After all, they've lived in risk before. Just a bad move. You shouldn't have done that, and you got to make it up somehow. But he said that he immediately instructed the Latin Patriarch to be allowed to conduct services of the church going forward. Of course, you caught a lot of heat. This is a bad move by Israel, and Bibi he's got to take that. It was bad, and they caught a lot of flack. Not a time to be doing that. It's been going on for centuries, and you just said that no more than 50 could be in a place. You just tell them, listen, you're on your own. We can't get enough. We can't protect it enough. But they haven't been targeting those kinds of things yet. Iran has not. So I just think you just tell them, listen, if something happens, you realize we may not be able to stop it. You could be in harm's way. And if they say we understand, which I'm sure they would have, they would have went and done that, and you just let it go. But they made that decision. It was a bad decision. He said what happened was that Iran had been firing missiles at the old city of Jerusalem. He noted that fragments from recent attacks landed dangerously close to the church and other sacred sites. Well, sure. Everywhere in the city, those fragments have been falling. And so he explained that security officials ordered worshipers removed from vulnerable areas lacking adequate protection, but he could have overrode that. He said, let's remove the worshipers right now because they could be hurt, he said, quoting Israeli security authorities, emphasizing the directive applied equally to all faiths. A police officer enforced that order against the Cardinals. I don't want to butcher their name. Hezbollah was one of them. The Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, prompting backlash from church leaders of some world governments. It didn't get hit in the news as heavy as I thought it would, because usually this is the kind of story. But among the religious circles, that there was a lot of anger, and I get it. I just think they could have allowed it and said, "You're on your own. We will do what we can, but we may not be able to protect you. Things will be falling out of the sky possibly." So, but that's the whole of the city. So, I'd tell them where the closest bomb shelter was if they wanted to make it or stay in the church or whatever while it was going on, and let them go in. And he should have done that. It is the first time in centuries that senior clergy were prevented from conducting the Palm Sunday Mass at the site. He rejected claims of religious discrimination, calling such accusations absurd, insisting there was no malice or bad intention. For whatever it was just a bad decision. Nevertheless, he said, I immediately instructed that the Patriarch should be allowed to come with his party and perform services as he wishes, adding that Israel is working to allow limited worship attendance while minimizing risk during the volatile period. Again, you could have done all that and let these guys go in. It was just a bad. It was bad. They are among the Orthodox. Yes, he's probably taking some heat from them. I mean, that's one of his big blocks of support is the Orthodox, and it's on him. At the end of the day, if a police officer said it or whatever, that's a quick phone call, and he just says, "Listen, let them in. Tell them the danger. Tell them we will try our best to defend if something happens, but you've got to let them in." And now he says, "Well, they're going to be able to do it going forward." Well, you just told the enemy that they'll be in there on that day. So what's the difference in letting them do that in the beginning and saying that now? The security risk just went up, but now you've made it a thing. So that was stupid. It was a bad decision. I've said that. You just can't do that. I can imagine if you had told the Orthodox they can't go to their, they have limited number for everybody. 50 worshipers is the maximum right now while these ongoing incoming missiles, because probably because of the size of the shelters, I would guess. And they just don't want large gatherings. And a lot of the injuries have been, they say 5 to 10 minutes after a blast, these fragments are coming down. A lot of people have been hurt by the fragments instead of the initial blast, because people come outside looking around and things are still falling out of the sky. And it's been blown up or pieces of the whatever, So I get that. But even my Huckabee said, the article I read yesterday, he called it difficult to justify. And so he was critical himself. that it should not have happened. And I'll say the same thing. Um, and, just don't need to do that. Hey, listen, we're used to danger. Missionaries, Christian missionaries in hot spots all over the world, they understand this. They don't act foolish, but they're gonna conduct things. They're gonna do things. And this was a hot, this was on the date that it was, what it was, and they've done this forever. This wasn't a regular deal. This is an exception that could have been made, and he blew it. And now they got to deal with the after effect. So um, I get it. It is a tension spot between all the different faiths. It is a highly volatile spot. All of those sites, it's very volatile, especially Old City. I mean, it's horrible that they've left some of the Jewish ones underneath in places where they have to send in like the army just to allow the one or two times a year that these Jewish leaders want to go to, like Rachel's grave or any of those. It's a very volatile place. But that was a bad decision. If I had been a couple of different ones, the response would have been mass protest. They're very fortunate that it didn't turn into that, but it was. Senator Lindsey Graham, he urges peace. Oh, can you really believe that he's urging peace, Senator Lindsey Graham? I don't buy it. He supports efforts to reach a peace agreement, but with Iran, but warned that military action remains a near-term possibility if negotiations fail. Keep it up, Mr. President. Our boy Lindsey says. Wind down the war and wind up efforts for an historic peace deal, he wrote on Monday after discussion with President Trump. He said that he backs diplomacy, but emphasized that any agreement would require cooperation. Well, of course. I support diplomatic efforts to end the conflict consistent with our military objectives, but it takes two to tango. Well, Lindsey would know about two to tango, wouldn't he? The necessity for military action is weeks, not months, and Operation Epic Fury is well ahead of pace. He added that weakening Iran could create conditions for a broader regional agreement. The hope for Lindsey, has always been that neutralizing Iran as the largest state sponsor of terrorism, it will open the gateway to peace, allowing Saudi Arabia and Israel to normalize their relationship, effectively ending the Arab-Israeli conflict. He's talking about the Abraham Accords. The president is pushing Saudi to join. He also credited Trump's leadership with shaping the current approach. If this historic normalization deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel occurs, it will be due to President Trump's bold, decisive leadership in dealing with the Iranian threat so that they can no longer be a spoiler for peace like they were October 7th, 2023. So he goes on to say a few things. He said great progress has been made, but if for any reason a deal is not shortly reached, which it probably will be. They all say that. If they say that, may not make it, but we probably will. We might have a deal when the president says that. He expressed optimism an agreement could be reached soon. Great progress has been made, but if for any reason a deal is not reached shortly, which it probably will be, and if the Hormuz Strait is not immediately open for business, we will conclude that our lovely stay in Iran, of course, this was the President Trump saying, because I remember him saying that, the lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all their electric generating plants, oil wells, and Cargill Island, Trump wrote. So he put that on his Truth Social. So he calls for Iran to negotiate. We're underscored by a new Israeli military strike taking out more Iranian regime leaders. So they're still running out of people. I know the de facto leader, who they say is badly injured, honored the naval commander who was killed. He honored him. That was some news that came out. So, but this is, they're going to be ground troops now. They're going after the uranium, and they're wanting very much for regime change, and they're looking for that to happen. So it is not going to. We're already getting near the end of the original game plan, 4 to 6 weeks. We're getting really almost at the end of that. So this is probably going to extend for weeks, if not a few months, the operation there. And it's kind of like I said, they went past the line that you could actually pull back. Now they have to kind of stay in there and see it through to the end. And so we'll see. 50,000 troops now stationed in the Middle East. Pakistan has been announced will host talks between U.S. and Iran to try to reach a deal. The president says a deal may be reached soon. but they've been saying that for about 2 weeks now. Iran downed a $300 million U.S. radar jet in a missile strike. That was last week. The E-3 Sentry airborne warning and control system aircraft, a $300 million platform that provides command and control, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities, according to reports. The plane was destroyed in a missile attack and had been stationed at the Saudi Prince Sultan Air Base. Tankers were also damaged. We saw pictures of that. 10 service members were injured, including 2 seriously. The loss of this E-3 is incredibly problematic given how crucial these battle managers are to everything from airspace deconfliction, aircraft deconfliction, targeting, and providing other lethal effects that the entire force needs for the battle space. Heather Penny, a former F-16 pilot and director of studies and research for AFA's Mitchell Institute for Aerospace Studies, told Air and Space Force magazine. So anyway, it's a very useful tool. It is now, that one at least, is now gone. So that's kind of where, I mean, it's they're shooting pot shots. They've hit a few things. Some things have not went through. That's kind of what they're left. I mean, they're running out of ability to fire. So in that way, they have fairly well. They're still getting a few shots off, but the number of them have went way down in the last week or so. So we'll just keep a daily look at where this is at and where it goes. But another article says that Trump may call on Arab nations for war funds because it is getting very expensive. I think it's about a $200 billion deal already. He said Caroline Leavitt was asked about that. She said she would not speak for the president, but indicated that it was an idea he had considered. I think it's something the president would be quite interested in calling them to do. It's an idea that I know that he has and something that I think you'll hear more from him on. So they're looking for ways to cut some different things. They talk about fraud and things. Well, he should have already cut the fraud, but they're supposed to, Watchmen, ground. I mean, they're talking about special forces, but I still think there's going to be a beachhead there somewhere. They're gonna carve something out and kind of establish that, and I think that's probably going to happen. But good morning to you. I thought this was interesting as they talked about this. The big, beautiful ballroom. He says that a massive military facility is planned under that ballroom. I don't know why you would do that. I don't know why you would say that. The military is building a massive complex under the ballroom, and that's under construction. We're doing very well, so we're ahead of schedule, he told reporters aboard Air Force One. It's part of it. The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under, he said, without elaborating on the unprecedented arrangement. He said that information about the plan had come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit. Last October, the former real estate developer had an entire wing of the White House bulldozed. Remember that. In order to build the ballroom. He speaks frequently about the ballroom. We're using onyx and stones that are incredible, he recently told a press conference. Dedicated in part to the war in the Middle East, the ballroom project, one of the most ambitious undertakings at the White House in over a century, has continued to grow, to grow in scope. The budget has doubled from $200 to $400 million. And so now we have a massive military facility under there. Do you want to go? Good morning there. Do you want to go to the ballroom and have a nice dance with this massive military facility underneath the ballroom that could potentially be a target? I don't know, which I know everything's a target, but still. Brodsky said he watched the 87 interview with Trump, and he said we should take Iran's oil. They're definitely going to, but that's definitely going to be part of the deal. I told you about that as a deep underground data center, control center. Yep. But I'm not surprised at that. What I'm surprised at is he's talking about it. Like, usually they just don't even talk about it or admit stuff like that. He's all over it. Like, yeah, we're going to have it. I mean, so I said this yesterday, and I really do believe it. I don't think Brodsky were here. I've said that by his celebrations for America, the America celebrations, they're pushing real hard. They've got Venezuela. He wants Iran, that to be a deal. Cuba, he wants regime change there. and he wants that war with Ukraine to stop. That's what he wants to get all that settled, and probably throw in Greenland as a topper, and then he'll sit back and celebrate the uh, the birthday of America as they and they'll call him King Trump as he celebrates those victories. That's the plan. I really believe they're in hurry up mode to get it all done. So they can claim Venezuela on because they're getting oil from there, and Maduro is in America under arrest, and so he's effectively wiped out Iran's navy and air force, and they're very close to having ground troops there, and they'll have a beachhead. The island or something will become a place that they'll be, and then they're pushing Cuba really hard. Their economy is destroyed right now, and we will see if that happens. Greenland's nothing; they can just basically claim it. I mean, and he's pressuring little man over Zelensky every day to end this thing. Take what you can get, buddy, because we're fixing to pull out. So, Zelensky's not happy about it, but what's he going to do? He can't stop Russia. So, the alarming thing was I read that he would say he would give security guarantees to Ukraine if a deal is struck against Russian aggression. I'm surprised that was included. But as the night went into the night, the foreign press is talking about the 2,000-pound bunker busters that hit an ammunition depot as Iranian strike on full tanker sparks oil spill fears off Dubai. And I heard about that one too. So there's video. This massive strike that happened near and then that oil tanker was hit near the strait. Yeah, this is in the city is Fahan, and I probably didn't say that. That's Fahan. But he talked about that. I read that in the middle of the night. I woke up and was reading some of the reports. So those videos are, I don't think there was any sound, but video was there, and you could see the massive strike. There was reports that the operation, that Mr. Trump was considering a military operation to send special forces deep inside Iran to seize the stockpile of enriched uranium. Fire tracking satellites from NASA suggest the explosions happened near Mount Safed, if I said that right. Let's see here. Is they're trying to an area believed to have military positions. Massive fireball, secondary explosions. Iran has not formally acknowledged the attack. It is home to one of 3 uranium enrichment sites bombed by the U.S. during the 12-day war between Iran and Israel last year. And looks like we're fixing to go in there. They're softening it up even more. The Iranian drone struck a fully loaded Kuwaiti tanker carrying 2 million barrels of oil near the Strait of Hormuz, sparking fears that an oil spill in the Persian Gulf. The apparent strike on the Al Salmi tanker is just the latest in a string of assaults on merchant vessels by missiles or drone. This was owned by the Kuwaiti Petroleum Corporation, KPC. And they said early on that on Tuesday, Al Salmi was struck in an Iranian attack while anchored at Dubai port in the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, causing damage to the vessel and a fire on board. Excuse me. They warned of a possible oil spill in surrounding waters, the Kuwaiti state news agency Kuna reported. Dubai authorities said maritime firefighting teams successfully put out the blaze, which was sparked by their drone attack. There were 24 crew members, and they were all safe on board. And so gas prices are hovering around on average, about $4 a gallon, I think. Anything else? Well, like I said, it's an old story, and we're right in the middle of it. So right now, whatever happens, but we're deep in the box, as they say in this thing. And right now, they've got to get. It's a pretty massive hit. I mean, you can see the. Let me pull this down. Stop screen. We'll show the pictures of that. So pretty massive that was our strikes. And you can see some of that in the distance there. And so there was one of those. Uh, and and maybe let's see. This is that's a little bit more of that. Just about the same thing. So anyway, that's what happens in war. Things get hit. Things are targeted, and so I would expect that. And now they're showing how the Marines might possibly storm Karg Island, and they're showing that today. So the foreign press is looking to show off what America may be doing. So different attack angles to the island. So they definitely sent the Marines in. Iran took out a U.S. radar. Yes, they did. They did take that out. A $300 million deal there, and some soldiers were injured. So it is dangerous in the region, and people got to be very, very careful over there. Pray for our troops and all people involved. It's war is not good. So, did you see the? I don't think he said it by accident, but he called it the Strait of Trump. President did. The Strait of Trump. I can see him doing that. He'll probably just say that we own it. We're taking it. It's ours. They've already kind of loosely talked about that we will control. We will control what goes in and out of that strait. We're not going to let any Iranian oil out. So at that point, we own it. I mean, if we have it, they were saying they were going to charge $2 million a vessel. That's not going to happen. I mean, somebody's stupid enough to be doing that because nobody's going to buy their goods and services. It would be so expensive to do that kind of charge. There are very few kinds of things, even oil would. They're not going to balk at paying any kind of $2 million charge to go through the strait. That's not going to happen. Brent crude rose to above 116 a barrel in Asia. It's near its highest level since the conflict began. So whenever these things happen, it's always going to bump up. President said in one of his talks, to be honest with you, my favorite thing is to take the oil in Iran, but some stupid people back in the U.S. say, why are you doing that? But they're stupid people, he said. Such a move would involve raiding Karg Island, the crown jewel of the regime, where 90% of the oil is loaded onto the tankers. The arrival of 2,500 Marines and another 2,500 sailors is keeping the number of U.S. soldiers in the region at or over 50,000. Last week, the Pentagon ordered 2,000 soldiers from the Army's 82nd Airborne Division, which would be used in this, obviously, to the region, so to give him options. He previously promised that he was not putting troops anywhere amid apparent divisions in his MAGA base over foreign military engagements and that the need for congressional approval. I say, though, that island is probably going to be taken. I just would think that's going to be a part of this. He always downplays before the upplay. He will always downplay a little bit. He'll make a threat, then he'll back off of it, and then he goes back, and then he goes forward. That's kind of in his operation. It's when you hear that, he will make big threats. Say we're close to a deal. We're going to do it. Don't push us. Then he'll say we're close to a deal. He'll kind of soften the blow, and then in the middle of the night, you'll get news that we've hit. So that's kind of been how he does that. So just saying, whether you like it or not, that's Watchman says that the whole island, I'm sure it is, underground base, tunnels full of weapons and fighting men. So, yeah. And how much do you have to, I mean, that's why you send in special forces, because you don't want to destroy the mechanisms. But they could have this thing, you know what, they could blow it and say, if we're going to lose it, let's blow it. And we could be going into a massive bomb. I mean, just light it up. I'm not to say they don't understand that or know that. I would be sure they would. So they develop plans for an attack or a hit on that island, but still, and I know they're working their spies pretty heavily on both sides to get information. They have been for years. They may have even all the plans of it or whatever, what it looks like. Who knows? Somebody will get you something for money. I mean, that's just the way it is. So, he knows, here we are, we're, approaching the midterms. this has got to wrap up. It don't look like it's going to. So it's going to be interesting to see how the midterms go as we get a little bit deeper into this, because this should have been wrapping up, but instead it's amping up, and it looks like we're going to be there for a little bit. So a few months they're talking about. So months could be plural, two more, three more, four more. I think four is about the number. Uh, Iran just took out all the boats like they used to normally just from the beaches yesterday. So we'll see. They've definitely taken a huge hit, and the problem for them is command and control right now because a lot of their leadership is dead. I mean, a lot of it. So who's the next one stepping up, and how much can they really keep communication over the whole of the nation? And it becomes more difficult. So I was saying that way it's been effective, and they are still got places they control that they can still do precision strikes. Those places are being hit as often as they pop up. They're more inland, and so they've been a little more, pinpointing where those are and getting those. And it may take some special forces to get down and take out some of that stuff more on the ground. I think that's probably what some of it is too, as well as the uranium, as well as other things assets they may be looking at. But it would be it would be it's definitely they're definitely not going to leave it like it is. I see. I really don't think Iran would intentionally destroy Kharg Island, but Israel would. We shouldn't let them do that. It's a good point. It's a possibility, and put pressure there. And I think as long as Israel is hitting, I think as long as Israel's hitting, America's going to stay there because we're going to play, if nothing else, the referee for the Middle East to hold back and just say, listen, we're involved here. Don't support us. Don't get in the way. Kind of thing, and then pressure Israel to back off at some point if they can. Who knows if it'll work, but they have been smacked a little bit by the administration. They've been told to back off on some things. So we'll see. I don't know, but it is definitely, definitely one of those things we got to pay attention to because it could cause a lot more that it could grow as they hit these other countries and some of their things. They could easily get involved, and so. Well, I mean, a win, Watchman, is a win. I mean, there's different kinds of wins. I mean, we're not going to. The win is as I said before. What is your mission goal here? We're not taking over Iran, so the win would be, damage them to where they can't, be that big a threat and reaching other nations if that was part of it. Keeping the Strait open, making. They've used a lot of those. They've used a lot of strike material. I mean, they can make more, but if you could set them back some, and you killed a lot of their leadership. I mean, a heck of a lot of it, hundreds, I guess. I don't know. I know it was over 100 at one point. They've continued to hit, or Israel has, and so it's not saying Iran's going into defeat mode, but the people, if they rise up, this could get interesting. I think the country could be split. I really do. If they got organized, because we're talking, there's been loose talk about us putting, establishing to the opposition weapons and equipment. I kind of think that there could be parts of that country that could swing, kind of like Syria. There could be parts of that nation that becomes under the control of another entity, and then the rest would still be controlled by Iran proper. I just think that's a possibility, but. Who do we want to become the new leader of Iran? Well, some have said the guy that was connected, that was part of that previous, the royals or whatever they're called. Maybe he's the guy. I don't know. The people. I mean, they're going to put somebody there, and that's what I think. I think there's going to be a de facto government that's going to be of the opposition that's going to be put in place somewhere. They won't have the whole of the nation, but I think they'll carve out some places that. Tehran doesn't have. Tehran wouldn't be a part of that, but that's what I'm saying. There could easily be areas in holding control of that and putting the equipment on the ground to keep it. I mean, I just think the country could be split, maybe even three. I think it's possible. U.S. boats on its military stocks, not propaganda. These boats that have the gate that lets down carries troops, tanks into beaches. They were docked in 2 spots, Kuwait and somewhere else. But they don't. They just don't have the military capability we have. They can definitely do munitions and set things up and drone and missile strikes. There's danger there, absolutely, but they don't have a. They don't have. I mean, all they got left is those kind of boats. They don't have really a navy anymore, and they don't control the skies. I mean, you got A-10s flying over the top of it. And there's no danger to them. You've knocked out. You're not worried about them being hit. You've knocked out a lot. They could get a lucky shot, but right now, they're trying to stay alive. So we'll see. I don't know. I just we need it to settle down. It would be good for us, and we need to kind of get out. We need to kind of get you know settled and keep the strait open. I just think that the U.S. Navy is going to be involved in this for some time. We'll probably keep that strike force in that area going forward. I just think that's probably going to be the deal. They're not going to let them just all get things built back up and come on. But I just think that they will. I just think that they will keep a carrier strike force there and escorting ships up and down the strait. But first, they've got to stop, the attacks of them and them taking off. So anyway, but that's a lot of, who knows where it's going to go or how it's going to go. But I would think with that would be that would be where we're going to go. The best we can do is hope that we can keep the strait open and get pulled back. So anyway, that's a little bit of foreign press for you as they're showing it. And that's not much more I want to see there. So anyway, I will look up one more here. Let's see here. What was being reported? Al Jazeera is reporting that Iran says U.S. Israeli strikes hit military sites, so they say that on their side as well. Iran war wipes 120 billion off Dubai stock markets. This is being reported in Al Jazeera. They're saying future of the Strait of Hormuz may be decided by the entire region, according to Qatar. Eurozone inflation jumps as energy prices surge. UNRWA, that wonderful group that is forever just keeping, that's a whole other discussion. Anyway, the chief calls for an investigation into Israel killing over 390 staff in Gaza. Continued escalation not in anyone's interest. This is from Qatar. Let's see what else. Gaza families reunite years after babies evacuated amid Israel's war. Drone attack sparks fire on Kuwaiti tanker. We talked about that. Sudan war being fought on women's bodies. Survivors detail sexual assault. They're reporting in Al Jazeera. Israel says 4 soldiers killed as army pushes deeper into South Lebanon. Dangerous escalation. World reacts to Israel passing death penalty law. According to Al Jazeera. Human rights group and Palestinian leaders have condemned Israel's passage of a law approving the use of the death penalty against Palestinians convicted of deadly attacks, calling the measure a violation of international law and inherently discriminatory. The legislation passed on Monday by Israel's parliament, the Knesset, makes the death penalty by hanging the default punishment for Palestinians in the occupied West Bank who have been found guilty of killing Israelis. That's also being reported there. I won't read the whole story. You can welcome to go to Al Jazeera and read it if you want. But just mentioning some of they've got a live tracker going on between these attacks. And okay, that's about it. All right, I just want to give a kind of the other side of that because they'll show a balanced side somewhat, not always, but. Palestinian ally Ireland under fire for allowing weapons transfers to Israel. So, anyway, the world is at war, in a sense. The world is at war. It might not be called a world war, but it is a war. There are many fronts of this war, and got to lock in. Things are escalating and heating up as these things and continue to go on. And I don't want war. I would hope it will start very soon, and we get back to some sort of normalcy. But we may be in the new normal for a while, I would think. I want to say good morning to all of you that are on Instagram this morning. Thank you for coming in. I see your names. We appreciate you. All those that are on Rumble, we have several there. YouTube, thank you. Facebook, Twitch, Kick. Who did I miss? Miss somebody. That may have been it. I probably missed one. But thank everybody for being here on the Cornbread Man Morning Show. We try to show some balance and just showing the news. And it's hopefully we'll get leveled out. But there's a potential for bad things. Bad things. Already been bad. There could be war. And as more troops go over there, pray for the troops. Young men and women of the American military in harm's way. And lots going on locally. As people are paying the price at the pump and all of the energy as that goes up. It's not been horrible. I said that Americans will grumble at $4 a gallon. They're not gonna lose their lunch. They're not gonna lose their lunch until it hits $5. Then they're really gonna be raising cane. But $4, they'll grumble and gripe, and people will complain, but they're not gonna say too much about $4 a gallon. In most places, if it's still under $4, the cities will be $4 and $5. But honestly, I've seen it at nearly $6 in Atlanta before, and a few years ago, and they were pumping it left and right down. Other people didn't care. When you get outside the city, it was less than that. It was around $4. People complain, but they didn't say anything. Can I have an anti-Israel show? We can have an anti-Muslim show as well, but need the anti-Israel show. It would be fun. Might get explosive. We are going to have in the near future a little bit more news when we go to our link tree. We're going to put that will be behind the paywall. Me and Paul will probably head that up. So we'll be going to do a little bit more in depth and talk a little bit more about issues. Some people don't want it. I try to do a balance on here of what I do have, and there is no fine line. I try to balance between the two. I have people tell me when you go to politics, I'll leave your show. Then I have people say if you don't talk politics, I don't want to see your show. They say if you don't talk, that's what I get. So I can't win, so I'm going to lose somebody. So in the morning, I just try to show a balance there. But I have people tell me, hey, I love everything you're doing, but when you talk politics, I'm out. I just don't care. We have other people says when you want to talk the issues, then I'm in. Hey, good morning, Cook. How you doing? Hey, man, appreciate that. Yeah, I pray for my wife. She's resting this morning. They'll be coming by early a little bit, about an hour and a half or so, hour and a half to give her a bath, and we get that help a couple of times a week. So the rest of the time we're doing that. But appreciate you, brother. So yeah, we do a lot of different kinds of stuff, and that's why I say we're not a one-stop shop. And I definitely, I would say, I don't know if I would say anti. That's not my. I would say we'll point out the problems. We'll point out. I'm willing to give speech to that. I just don't want to turn into a hate show. And we'll say anti. That kind of tends to go. Listen, people are passionate about who they like and dislike. I get that, and there's things that I feel strongly about too. But I try not to take it to certain levels. It does cause problems, and people get mad at it. So it's just there are a lot of shows that do that, and I just kind of leave it for them to do with the balance that we have. And as I said, there's a balance I have to have in my life because of work and things, and I can only go so far, and that's a reality. If I do that too far, then I may put myself in harm's way. So seriously, so I'm willing to point out the issues, but I can't taking a real hard line and going anti, saying I'm against them. It depends on how far it is, but I've been exploring that in the military branch. I can't rule it out. Yeah, man. And listen, for those that think that I don't, that I have a responsibility. I've said that. This began. I've always done. I've had things going way back. I mean, I've been in ministry for a long time, and I do try to reach different people. I've always pointed out the bad of different things. I've dealt with it myself, hatred on all sides. Um, but it is not something I'm avoiding. But there are certain aspects of it I have to be careful in the tone, because it could cause me trouble. And listen, I have a responsibility to take care of my family. So I leave that to y'all. And sometimes I put it on screen, sometimes I don't. And it's a moment decision. It doesn't mean I'm for or against. I just sometimes I try not. People welcome to look at the chat if they come in and the show and see it. But some things I don't put on screen. But sometimes we probably dance on that line a little bit. But so far nobody's said anything. But we get in too deep into it, then I might it might. But we do on here touch on a lot of those subjects. But when we get a little bit more behind the paywall on that, we may go a little bit deeper. So we'll see. I don't know. In a few in a couple of years, I'll probably be retired, and that will open up me to have a little bit more. So it's just life. That's just the way it is. But in my role, in my position, I have to be careful of that. So I do go and listen to other people say it. I got friends; they talk about it all the time. Various podcasters and content creators, and I think we all have strong opinions. And we'll say, all these as all these tentacles come together, it's impossible for it not to be, but you know, ugly, because there's ugly things, and there's ugly things that are going on, and we're concerned about it, and we bring people on, and I think we would take the stance that we allow guests to talk about it a little more than we will, and we'll say that's their opinion, and we leave it at that. So, well, I don't know. I'll leave that one alone. I get we. It is what it is. I'll say. I'm in my space, and I'll just leave that right there. So, Broski, you're funny though. Watchman. Hey, God bless all of you. You know, I'm told that well, I'll leave that alone. That's an offline discussion. Oh, that's an offline discussion. I'm gonna get in trouble. Not really trouble, but um, yeah, we'll have to talk one day. If I say it one way, everything gets back. So I just think I'm being honest though. I mean, we argued. Our argument was over you guys. Honestly, there was other things going on, but I don't think that's a secret. And massive heat, massive heat over that, because I believe in allowing people to have their opinion, and I don't try to control your opinion. I can say I don't agree with your opinion, but I'm just being honest. Because I allowed that, because I was willing to give you a place to say it, then I became toxic. So that's really the safest way I can put that. And most people won't know what we're talking about anyway. So I'm just being honest. I think that is so. ISIS has never attacked Israel. When they were hit, Israeli forces that came for them to take them to Israeli hospitals. So, uh, no. That was no. I understand, and it's not that. I'm saying politics in general. People say they leave, so I tell them, look, if you leave, you leave. I'm going to talk politics, and then people say when you don't, then I would leave. So, um, well, that's fine. Like I said, we haven't always agreed on everything. You say you're controversial, but I was told I can't talk to you guys, and so that became it became what it was. So, it was just a disagreement. I'm using the word toxic instead of another word, and that's what really where it went. So, you know, we haven't agreed. I mean, it's not like we've agreed. on everything, but I did give you a platform. I did allow you to say things, and you know, there were times that I did time you out, but I didn't ban you. So for whatever. So I don't know. I'm just a bad dude, you know. I'm bad. People say what happened. I say I'm a bad dude. I'm a bad guy. Mad, me, whatever you want to say. Toxic. That's a good one to use. Anyway, but anyway, I got to get out of here. I do got to go. No kids to take to school, but I do got to get out of here. I got to go to work, do some things at home, and my sister is up and taking over, and then my son will be home, and we kind of bounce through different ones. Y'all pray for my wife though; she's doing pretty good. For everything she's been through, she's doing pretty good. Thanks for the prayers. Hey, y'all have a great day out there. I went a little bit over, running my mouth here, but I'll just say this: at the end of the day, this has always been my response. I don't try to tell people how to think or what to say. I don't. I will listen to anyone unless it becomes directed at me and they're hating on me and calling me names. I mean, I just don't need it. I don't need that. But I really do. I will, you know, I'm as a podcaster, I will interview anybody. I would. I don't care who they are. I would interview them to ask them the questions to see how they feel about stuff. And if that makes me a bad guy, I would. I will listen to someone. I don't mean I agree with it, but I will listen to someone. I've never told a guest what they could or couldn't say. You know, I have not. So it makes me whatever it makes me. So yeah, have a great day out there. God bless. There it is. Song that gets in your head. It is going to be a beautiful day. Yes. Have a happy Tuesday.
Yeah.